My name is Alex Alexander, and I'm making a video today about this fellow whose name is Alex Hormozi. I made a couple clips so that I could talk about what he's talking about in his marketing and what I'm putting into my business. And so this is for review, Alex Hormozi, and kind of like a case study because I'm showing you exactly what he's talking about and exactly how I'm putting it into my business. And it's been phenomenal. He makes YouTube videos and they're about some high-level marketing and business strategy equations a lot of times. It's really interesting because tons of people are about mindset and all this kind of thing, and mindset's really important, but this is more like logistical mindset, like business, the part of business that actually has to be done. There still needs to be a mindset to that part also. It is like a next level of personal development and mindset in business. And I've really enjoyed watching his videos. So I'm just going to play some of his videos and I'll pause throughout and talk about how that's getting into our business. I have land here in Hawaii. That's what we do. This fella sells gym memberships and gym coaching and coaching courses, how to improve being a better coach, like a real estate coach or a life coach or some sort of a business coach. He doesn't even sell a course. He gives away these free videos about how to make your business way better. What I thought was interesting is the coaching business, the models that he uses for financial analytics go for monthly sales, like memberships, subscriptions, gym memberships. That's what it's towards. That's what it's marketed towards. And so I've been approaching our real estate business with that sort of a model. And I haven't found anybody else that's been doing it that way. And it just fits specifically. I talk a lot about our niche, what we do specifically in Ocean View, and it's quite a bit different than almost anybody else anywhere that I've found. There's one specific avatar, which is avatar is like the customer. We have this one specific customer, one product that we're really specifically good at. And the other great thing is it's a product that not a lot of other people are interested in selling. And we found a specific way to offer it to the market and give a really high value for how much we can charge. I treat our business like a monthly recurring revenue business, and it's worked really well. He's got some great points, and I'll show you how we're putting it into our business. Here's Alex Hormozi.
It's like, how can I make it so likely that they are successful? How can I get them to be successful in half the time? And how can I do it so I can eliminate effort and sacrifice?
Okay, so like I said, we sell lots of land. We sell agricultural land in a humongous agricultural subdivision called Ocean View, Hawaii. And Hawaiian Ocean View Estates is the largest subdivision in the world. It's 11,500 1-acre agricultural lots. Every lot is 1 acre. So we have this different interesting place where we sell this land. And so what he's talking about is giving such a high value and being able to achieve it so quick. So we're able to finance this land. And most people, whenever they buy land and they're buying on a mortgage, they think about 30 years. So we're able to do it in 5 years, and we're able to finance people who don't have good credit. So we just totally put ourselves into a different market. So that's a lot of what he's talking about. Let's go ahead.
And for those of you who don't know the difference between effort and sacrifice, effort is what someone has to do that they don't want to do, that they weren't doing before they started working.
The effort that he's talking about is what someone was doing before they started working with you. I talk about paying rent. People don't like to be paying rent. Before they met me, before they were buying land with us, they were paying rent. So that's the effort.
With you. Sacrifice is when they have to stop doing something that they enjoy doing, that they weren't doing before they started working with you, that they can no longer do.
Okay, so that's sacrifice. So that means whenever we sell people land, they have to make a sacrifice. So they have to move out into the country. They live off grid. It's a whole different lifestyle. We don't have county water, county sewer. We don't have power. There's no trash pickup. There's not a school or a bank or a pharmacy or a doctor. And there are 11,000 lots out there. So we have a huge amount of space for expansion for the people to move out there and to grow the population. So let's see what Alex has to say.
So the idea is, how can I eliminate the effort and sacrifice, cut the time in half, and then increase the perceived likelihood that they're going to achieve the result that they want?
So he's got these equations, and they're not like, you can plug in the numbers to them, but also they're concept equations. So he's going to explain the whole thing. So the book that he has that he's talking about right here, it's called $100 Million Offers. He wrote this book, and he put it on Amazon for 99 cents because you have to at least charge something. So the big pitch that he always puts in his videos is that the book is free. He's giving it away, and he's giving away all this information for free. And so let's go back to the video.
And so that was kind of the base. Just in general, if there was one summary picture for the book in terms of how to create value, it's the value equation. And so the remainder of the book is basically the execution, the tactics around how do we actually do this? How do we create a dream outcome that's appealing to the person?
Okay, so for us, the dream outcome that we're setting is being able to own a piece of land. So many people that we work with, that we talk to, and we were in this category just a few years ago, have a belief that land ownership in Hawaii is just so far out of their possible reach. It's just not even in the concept. It's not even our conceptual construct, so to speak. Use some big words. But that dream outcome is to be able to own an acre of land in Hawaii. That's that dream outcome. We already found a ton of people who already had that dream. So that kind of comes built into our product and market.
Perceived likelihood of achievement.
So he's talking about perceived likelihood of achievement now. What does that mean? Whenever we were just talking about that dream outcome, there's this dream that I'd love to own an acre of land in Hawaii. The perceived likelihood of achievement gets really low whenever you start talking about the price. Can you make it over here? Can you make it work on an agricultural piece of land? So there becomes the price, the financing, and the insurance becomes a big, huge problem, specifically in this one subdivision. So this is what I've been addressing on the more like meta level. How do we tailor a product for our customers so that they have that dream outcome? Because that's what we already have the customers. Our customers already have a dream outcome of owning 1 acre of off-grid land in Hawaii. So that's our avatar. That's their dream outcome. So we have to figure out what is their perceived likelihood of achievement. Like I said, right now, very low. So we'll let him go on.
Plastic surgery, or you were getting plastic surgery, whatever.
He's talking about
his
example.
They're going to do the exact same surgery on you, right? The outcome's the same now. I'm controlling for the outcome and showing you different pieces of the value equation. If one of them was about to do their first surgery ever out of medical school, and
he's making an example. He says, if you had the choice to choose between these two surgeons,
the other one was on their 10,000th surgery in their career, which of them would you rather work with? This one. Which one would you rather pay more? This one. You probably asked this guy to pay to you because you were his first surgery, right? And so in a very real way, the perceived likelihood of achievement increases the value independent of the actual service being delivered. And so that is why it's the second thing. Now, most marketers focus all their attention on the top side of the equation. This is what I did for the first few years of my career when I was in my gyms.
This is the same thing we did. We found the avatar, which is the customer, and we figured out what their dream what their dream outcome was. And so we were pitching that, because here's the thing. The reason we knew what this avatar was, who this avatar was, what the dream outcome was, is because we were the customer. All we did is make a product that was so perfect for us and have it for other people as well. Because we pretty much found this product, and if there weren't any other outlets selling this same product, so we became the outlet selling this same product. And here we are. Back to Alex.
I sold weight loss, and then even in the beginning of Gym Launch, it was all about how much money you're going to make, and then fuckloads of testimonials. How much money you're going to make, fuckloads of testimonials. There are other ways to increase perceived likelihood of achievement, which goes back to that flash roll argument I was saying earlier, which is, here are all the things that you didn't even think about that I have already handled.
Okay, so this part of he's talking about his consulting. What he does when he's setting the price high and setting the perceived likelihood of achievement is you let them know, look, I'm an expert at this. I've already been through it. And so a way to raise the perceived likelihood of achievement for your customers is to show, look, I'm an example. I went through this. I did it. And you're like me. You can do it too. And if this is a classic sales strategy that's broken down in some real technical terms, but if you think about the folks who do like the weight loss thing and jump online and say, look, here's the dream outcome, have a six-pack. Do you have a perceived likelihood of achievement? It might be, oh, look, you're just like me and I did it. That brings up the perceived likelihood of achievement. Back to Alex.
On your journey that you didn't even foresee, which then shows my expertise that I know what I'm doing. And so the goal is to increase these as much as possible.
You want the top side higher.
Now, the second half of the equation are the detractors. In a very real way, in my opinion, the bottom side of the equation is actually more powerful in persuasion than the top side. And the reason is because it's very easy to make claims. It's very easy to talk about the dream outcome, right? But it's much more difficult to actually decrease the time delay, which is why for us, one of the major KPIs we've always had as a company is how much cash someone generates in the first 14 days working with us.
Okay, so for us, what we were trying to do is the time delay is a 30-year mortgage. So a lot of people were like, okay, I hate renting. And then they think about a mortgage and they go, 30 years, I might as well be renting. This is the concept that we were working through as we were marketing to this avatar, which is us. So what we did is we took our own concepts, and as we're growing out of them, we kept notes and we kept remembering and we kept paying attention and we kept in touch with ourselves, our own avatar, even as we grew, so we would keep that language and that communication. And so that's how we did it. Back to Alex.
And so for us, we drive towards that equation. And for us right now, for example, the average cash collected in the first 14 days is $15,500 for our client. That is the average, right? And so with that, I can have a big outcome in the first 14 days. So they have a very short time delay between when
people wanted to be able to move on to lots right away. A lot of people there were some sales programs out when we first started, and there probably still are some of our competitors who still use this sales technique. What they'll do is they'll say, yeah, you can make payments on it for 2 years, 3 years, whatever, however long it is. And you're not allowed to build or live on it or do any construction or excavation until you finish paying it off. Then we turn the deed over to you and you can do whatever you want to the property. This was tough for people, so we took away that entire time delay and we made it as soon as you can put your down payment and make your first month's rent, you can move on to the property, you can build, you can excavate, you can get on there. And so we took away that time delay.
And so I'll give you a simple way of providing value. Look at what everyone else is doing in the market and do it in half the time, right? If all of a sudden, for example, as an extreme version of this, I would say, hey, I'm selling a weight loss product. I use weight loss because everyone understands it, all right? And as soon as you click this, you pull your shirt up and you have a 6-pack, right? You buy my 6-pack program, you click purchase, and you have a 6-pack immediately.
And see, we're on that same path. We got it to where you can shop online, apply online, get your contract online, and even make your payment online. So we've got it to where somebody can, within 24 hours, find a piece of property, apply for it, sign your contract for it, and make your first payment, and be able to move on to a piece of land like that, 24 hours. So exactly what he's talking about is exactly what we've been working on to hone our product and get the time delay really far down.
You have to pick, and then you have to commit. And then the hardships that you experience are the things that you have to perceive, or at least for me, that I perceive as barriers that no one else will go through.
Okay, so what he's talking about now is committing into one business and stopping being diversified in so many things. And this is, once again, exactly what we're going through in our business. We've been selling portions of our different interests in commercial projects, storage, some of the things we've been working on for quite a while. And we went through exactly what he's talking about. We want to diversify. We want to do this kind of project also, and this and that. And it seems so great. And hey, that different asset class is really great and it's really stable and all this kind of, and we need to get involved so we can be counter-cyclical in our investing and hedge against any kind of economic this and that. It's a lot of words. It's just a bunch of words. And so we got rid of a whole bunch of that and we focused on down. And so let's hear what Alex has to say about it.
Barriers that when I encounter them, once I solve them, someone else who comes behind me will encounter them and not know how to solve them.
Okay, so this is it. We've been working on this same, just selling lots for, 6 years specifically, just specifically this kind of selling lots. And we've gotten so good at it, it's super easy. That's why we're interested in the storage and different asset classes and locking up all these deals. So instead of that, we're doubling down. And
the more of these rungs that I pass, the more difficult it is for someone to.
And so since we've already been doing it for 6 years, he's talking about these rungs, these barriers we've already crossed that somebody new to get into the business would have to go through now. So whenever I look at setting up these 4 entities, the bank accounts, the e-pay that goes with it, the merchant account that goes with it, the websites, linking it together with the DocuSign, linking it together with the website so that it all goes together. Somebody else has to go do all that to catch up to where I am now. And so if I go off into some other asset class, all of this work that I've been putting in is it's like abandoning this great job that I've done of building all this whole huge infrastructure to go jump off to some different new project. And so I love the way he talks about it, that Instead of jumping off to something new, pay attention to what I've already built. And it's a huge barrier to entry to anybody else. Anybody else who wanted to see what I'm doing now and get in, it's a humongous barrier to just even the insurance and excavation. We'll let Alex talk.
Let's say somebody's making $5 million a year. I would just ask them, because they're like, hey man, I'm thinking about switching markets. And I'm like, why? They're like, I want to make more money. And I'm like, cool. I'm like, why don't you just double your business?
We recently looked at one of our commercial deals that's probably going to take about 2 years to finish up. And we started looking at it, and we did all the numbers. And then we just compared that, our possible gross that we could possibly make as our company at the end of the day. If we just double the amount of lots we have, it would be that same amount of money, because all of our front end expenses don't exist. The economies of scale are kicking in now. So the back end, where all the cost is on the front end, now we have all this profit here. So let's hear Alex.
And still have one business. And then inevitably, with enough questions, the answer becomes, because I just don't know how. And so then let's solve that problem and then grow the business, rather than just feed our egos and have a quick win because you have a couple of DMs of people who said they want general business coaching, which will then inevitably flounder once you get into the real space against dudes who make way more money than you are, much better at business. And so the reason you niche down is because you don't want to fight against bigger competitors. There is a time to become Tony Robbins, right? But most people aren't there. And so it's much better to cater your marketing and your messaging and your product to an individual and provide outsized returns in value, which you can then capitalize on.
Outsized returns in value. Whenever I really understood what he was talking about there, that caught me, and I was like, I got to understand that the outsized returns in value for the customer. Okay, see, we're in investments and we work with all these investors, so we're constantly thinking about outsized returns for our investors, because we think of our investor customers. We don't think about like our buyer customers on the real estate side as much. And so I'm really getting an advantage in real estate by paying attention to this recurring revenue model. And really what it's about is giving the higher value product, the really highest value product possible. And he'll go into that a little bit more.
If I had a generic Facebook ads program 5 years ago, I might have made a few $1 million. But because I was able to say, hey, I'm going to copy and paste this, here's every step of this process to turn eyeballs immediately, because I didn't have to tailor it, right? Everything out of the box was exactly the way it needed to be for that.
What he's saying is he's already built the infrastructure of his business. This seems like it's real common. I hear it from a lot of my friends that are in different business and kind of podcasters and such, that you get to a certain point and it's almost like you get too good at it. You get so good at it that you start looking for all these different challenges. And so that's a story we tell ourselves. And it's really helpful, I think, to listen to the way that Alex talks about it here. Hormozi talks about it saying, you're just scared because you don't know how to do the next thing. You don't really know how to grow to the next level. So you're scared, so you run to something that's easy, which is starting over. You know how to start a business and grow it to this level. And so we each reach up to that level and then get there. And I've done it 100 times. Go start a new one, get to that level, start a new one, get to the next level.
Prospect, right? So nothing else needed to change. Whereas the more wiggle you have in your product, because it's individualized and variable between markets and avatars and things like that, then all of a sudden your value drops because you're providing less of it in a very real way. Because otherwise, every single one of the clients should have a personally catered program, but you can't do that because you're not committing to a niche.
Yeah.
So the idea is, how few of these pieces can I peel back versus the other extreme, which is, hey, buy my thing. Maybe you get results, maybe you don't. I don't care. I got paid either way.
Okay, so there's plenty of landlords, sellers, whatever, whose concept is you're buying a piece of land, you go get the survey, you figure it out. And that's after you start making the payments. And so I didn't want to be like that. So I've been just like really feeding my buyers and my customers and not letting them walk all over me and forcing me to do a lot of free work. But it's really easy to put them off to surveyors or put them off to excavators and really help them out to where they have value. Because what happened to me? Whenever I bought a piece of land on payments, I started calling the guy and I was like, where's the boundary and where's the this and how do I do this? And then you bought a piece of land, so you figure it out. And so that's what Hormozi is saying here. He's talking about there's plenty of competition that's out there that's going to get this. Any business, whatever it is you're doing in the world, you probably have some competition out there whose attitude is, you bought the thing, I did my best. If you don't like it, whatever, it's your fault. And so this is a different way to think of it. I've been approaching it this way. It's been working out great.
Which is, for the most part, most coaching offers. Think about that. And if you're like, man, I'm not confident enough that we're going to be able to deliver on those promises, then fix the product, right? And stop selling the shit you're selling. It's like, why are you selling it to begin with? If you can't have the strong offer and the strong guarantee behind it, then the product sucks. Then you're never going to make a ton of money because the product sucks, and you're never going to be able to market it.
The one that he's talking about that's really important is the one that we're getting involved in, and it's the one that's been working very well for us, and it's word of mouth. And everybody talks about word of mouth, word of mouth. How do you make word of mouth? Let's talk about it.
Compounds and it's quadratic. The other reason so many of the people end up fizzling and popping when they become gurus is because the word of mouth marketing that is working against them outpaces them. They sold enough people, and enough people told enough people about how much their shit sucked, that no one responds to their ads anymore.
Now that's what's happening to my competition now. Because we were all sorting the same thing. Low value, you bought it, you figure it out, I don't care, make your payment, I don't care. If you can't make your payment, get out, whatever. And so we were able to just overshadow the entire market by offering, you can pay online. You can go to the bank and pay, call us, we'll email you, we'll text you. We have all these services. I'm getting it set up within the next month. People will be able to pay for their off-grid land at CVS with a QR code on their phone. They just get it scanned. They pay in cash. It goes automatically to my bank. The accountants get it. It goes into our accounting system. Everything's automatic. It's done. And so this is the infrastructure that I'm talking about. This is what I've been building for all this time, that we're not just pushing to the side anymore. Now we're letting the economies of scale really start to take over now. Let's go back to Alex, see what he's talking about.
Because you either have a positive quadratic force behind you that is just feeding you every day, or you have a negative quadratic force behind you. But the word of mouth is always happening. It's just whether you're controlling it or not, or whether you know about it or not. And so anyways, I just wanted to touch on that based on the last.
Okay, so the way we're dealing with that is we're just forcing so much value over what the price is. So there's the cost of what it costs us, there's the price we sell it for, and then there's the value. And so what we've been able to do is we got the cost of our goods super, super low. We got their costs way down,